So tonight's agenda, we're starting at 6:30. We have until 8, although we've had several of these public meetings already. They don't usually go that long. I want to go over some of the items that you're going to hear about today, as well as welcome a few people. So how we got to this point is we've already had a couple advisory committee meetings so far for the Clinch River Master Plan, and I want to welcome all those advisory committee meeting members if they're attending tonight. I also want to introduce you guys to a few people that will be speaking tonight. As again, myself, I'm Kelly McClary. You're going to hear also from Dr. Melissa Baker. She's the State Parks Director, as well as Tristan Cleveland. She's with LPDA, and you see her waving, as well as Bill Metchnick. He's also with LPDA. These are our consultants that are working with us tonight. And then you're also going to hear from Jennifer Wampler, which is a planning worker that works under the Planning Recreation Resources Division. I'm going to ask everybody to mute your mics. I think we have control of mics at this point in time, but mute your mics so that we don't have any background noise and those kind of things. We're going to be going over several slides tonight. And after I speak, we're going to hear from Tristan and Bill as well. Next slide, please. Some housekeeping for tonight. I just spoke about the phones. Please mute your lines. Turn off your cameras. It'll cut down on any background information that we don't need. We also will be recording tonight's meeting. So as of the beginning, we'll be recording it. We'll be posting this meeting online at a DCR website that we'll also put in the chat, and that you'll be able to go to after this meeting and tomorrow and thereafter. If you have any comments tonight, starting now and throughout the meeting, you can write them in the chat. We will not reply to comments in the chat, but what we'll do is reply to them by January 16th. So at the end of that comment period, the comment period ends on January 16th, you may be able to send any questions, concerns to us at jennifer.wampler@dcr.virginia.gov, and her email link is where you see on the page. We also have phone numbers, address. You can send us a letter. You can call us. Those things will be listed at the end of this presentation as well, so you don't have to write them down right this second. And you'll have a chance to write us a comment or a question. You also can write them in this chat room right now, and then at the end, after January 16th, we'll reply to all those comments. Next slide, please. So tonight's meeting, oh, I'm sorry. So I'm going to turn it over at this point in time to Bill Metchnick, which is with LPDA. Bill?
I think Bill's having some connection issues, so I will take this one. Thank you, Kelly. My name is Tristan Cleveland. I'm a landscape architect with LPDA. We are working with Alston Berkenbrough as the consulting team with the DCR to develop the Clinch River Master Plan. And so our purpose here at this meeting is to introduce you to the project, what the process is, where we are in it, what the site conditions for what we've evaluated so far for the existing conditions, and then review the park's purpose statement and goals, and then give you an opportunity to comment and give your input. We definitely want to be hearing from you. We are in the beginning phase of the design process, so hearing from you about what you were looking for this park, your concerns, and your ideas for its direction moving forward is what we're hoping to get from tonight. So I'm going to turn this over to Dr. Melissa Baker. Very pleased to introduce her. She is the Director of Virginia State Parks, and she is the 11th State Park Director in the 85-year history. She has experience in state parks from Wisconsin, Montana, and most recently as the Director of North Dakota Parks and Rec Department. She has earned a master's degree in outdoor recreation management from Southern Illinois University in Carbondale and a doctorate in forestry, urban recreation management, and protected area planning from the University of Montana in Missoula. So I'll turn this over to her.
We're going to have to shorten that down, but thank you. So we do like to give a little introduction to the state park system when we have these master plan meetings. The master plan for Clinch River State Park will live within the Virginia State Park system and will be guided by the mission of both the Department of Conservation and Recreation and Virginia State Park. So the DCR mission is to conserve, protect, enhance, and advocate wise use of the Commonwealth's unique natural, historical, recreational, scenic, and cultural resources. And the state park's mission is to conserve the natural, scenic, historic, and cultural resources of the Commonwealth and provide recreational and educational opportunities consistent with good stewardship of these lands, waters, and facilities that leave them unimpaired for future generations. So as we work through this master planning process, these are the two missions that really guide how we engage in the process. Next slide, please. So the history of Virginia State Parks. Virginia State Parks were founded in 1936 with the first 6 state parks, and these state parks were developed out of the Great Depression. As part of FDR's New Deal, the Civilian Conservation Corps in Virginia built our first 6 state parks. And most of these were a combination of donated land plus some state funds for development and a lot of work from the CCC. Next slide, please. The next phase of the Virginia State Park system is 1940s through 1980s, and that's when we see a lot of growth in the system. We saw a steady procession of new parks acquired and developed through a combination of funds. Donations still, federal grant money, and state capital development were used during this period to build the state park system. Next slide, please. Over time, we see the voters begin to support more growth and development. And you see that in a couple of places, 1990s through present. We had 2 major bond referendums, one in 1992 and one in 2002 that funded more than $214 million in funds, including 5 new parks and lands for 6 more, 31 natural areas, and 296 building projects, including campgrounds, cabins, support facilities, and all the things that you look for in a state park. We continue to acquire lands largely by donation and discounted sales. And the challenge is to find development funds. And part of what we'll do today and through this master planning process is to guide those requests for development funds for the Clinch River. Next slide, please. So today's Virginia State Park system is 41 parks. With Clinch River being our 41st, we have 4 under development. We have over 75,000 acres, 34 historic register sites, over 600 miles of trails. 25 of our parks have overnight facilities, 28 have visitor centers. And I won't go through the rest of these numbers, but you can see picnic shelters, swim beaches, campsites and yurts, cabins. And in 2020, we had visitation of just over 7.8 million visits to Virginia State Parks. Next slide, please. So each of the parks has a unique set of facilities, activities, and services. We have many day uses: hiking, swimming, picnicking, boating, bicycling, horseback riding, canoeing, and kayaking. Are many of our day uses. We have overnight facilities, cabins and camping, some yurts. Again, related to our mission of education and recreation, we do a lot of educational programming. Programs in education and interpretation. We host school groups. We do on-site programming. And that's a big part of our mission as well. And then we also have conference and meeting facilities. So throughout the park system, you see a different mix of the types of facilities and services that we offer. And part of what we will be doing through this master planning process is determining what the right mix is for Clinch River State Park. Next slide, please. So the relevancy of state parks in the 21st century and beyond, I think that We all know over the last couple of years, we've seen real proof of the relevancy of state parks, and certainly in Virginia. So parks are part of the community, and this planning process has certainly been a testament to that. With friends groups, volunteerism, we provide economic benefits, and how we develop our parks is part of how we engage with the community and what the community tells us that they need, and guided by other things as well. We know parks provide solutions to many of today's challenges. Many of you have heard of nature deficit disorder, where we have found that children are getting less time in nature and less time in play. But parks can provide a solution to that, as well as solution to daily stress and the need for affordable recreational opportunities. And in the past year, what we've really seen is that parks provided a safe place for people to engage in recreation, relieve stress. Parks have never been more popular than they have been over the last couple of years. And during the COVID-19 pandemics, parks definitely were providing essential services and giving people places to be safe and to gather together and to enjoy recreation. So the need for parks is greater than it's ever been, giving us places to reconnect and to reestablish personal well-being. You can go to the next slide now. So with that, I'd like to introduce Jennifer Wampler. She works in our Planning and Recreation Resources Division. As I said, our Virginia State Parks plans are guided by our mission statement, but we have other information that goes into that guidance, and Jennifer will share some with us on that. Jennifer?
I think Jennifer's having technical difficulty, so I'll take this slide. I'm Kelly again. So the Virginia Outdoors Plan is something that we work on every 5 years. It is required to actually get any land and water conservation grant fund. If you are a public entity, you can receive LWCF grants from us as we administer those in my division. Every 5 years, we work on the plan. It's a public process, and the next plan is due in 2023. And the plan oversees all outdoor recreation. So it doesn't just oversee state parks, it oversees everything that happens in Virginia regarding recreation. It comes to trails, it comes to scenic rivers, it oversees parks, both public and state parks, at the local level as well as at the state level. So our next plan will be updated in 2023, and we are actually working on public participation here in the coming year, and we'll be having a full survey that gets completed by VCU this year. So many people will receive that, and that's how the Virginia Outdoors Plan begins the whole process. And at the end, we master plan from that, and it starts the process for us. Next slide, please. So the State Park Master Plan, it is a legislative code. The code is written on your screen, and that is required of us anytime we acquire a sizable acquisition or we do any capital development that exceeds $500,000. So that's where Clinch River State Park comes in. Is we have acquired property. We own 2 parcels right now, and we are master planning that property based on the legislation that we have that we follow. The master plan code requires us to master plan parks or update them every 10 years. It used to be 5 years and now it's 10 years. Or if we get a sizable acquisition, either via donation or fee simple ownership. Next slide, please. So I'm going to turn it back to Tristan, I believe, or Bill Mitch.
Actually, yeah, I'm here. Bill Mitch. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Bill Mitchnick is with LPDA Consultants, and take it away, Bill. Thanks. And you could turn your camera on too.
Okay, I'll do that. Sure. Thank you so much. Good. All right, camera's on. You can probably see my nice reading glasses here, but appreciate you all joining the meeting. We are working, LPDA and Austin Borough Associates is working directly with DCR to develop the comprehensive master plan. We're very excited about that. Go briefly over the project objectives of the comprehensive master plan. You all can read, but really this is about highlighting the river's natural and historical and recreational resources. It's going to be the first Blueway State Park in Virginia. So it's a pretty unique and an important project. I figure all you folks from the public and from that area that are joining us understand the unique culture and history and environment that surrounds this watershed and Blueway. So the comprehensive plan really sets a framework for the goals and programming, how we're going to use the parks, and also priorities for implementation for development of the sites in the short term and long term. Next slide. Kelly had mentioned the code, the state code, and the process. There is a very specific process that DCR follows, and generally it has two major parts. Stage one being the conservation part, which is really about site and place. It's understanding the site, the unique conditions on the site, the constraints, and the opportunities. So we're pretty much done with that phase of the project. We're finishing that up. In stage two, there's really three parts of stage two. And the first one that says program needs analysis is really about the people listening, discussing, and defining desired programs and outcomes for the park. Then we take that and combine it and adapt it to the site and develop a plan. We get input on that plan from our stakeholders and you all, the public, and everybody involved, and we develop the final plan and recommendations for the project. Next slide. So we've started a lot of input. You know, we've looked at the site. We've done a lot of work on the site, and we're continuing to do so to understand opportunities and constraints. But a big part of that, again, is listening and getting input. So we've been talking to a lot of folks, various members of the community, various leaders and organizations on a state, county, and local level, including state and local tourism boards, the Forestry Service, integrating input from the DWR Mussel Recovery Program, the Nature Conservancy, and others, many others. There's been a lot of people that have a stake in this project and really have sort of pushed it along a long way before we've got involved. So we have to make sure that we listen to those folks, and we've been getting their input. So a big part of tonight, again, is listening to you all and getting your input and integrating it into the process. Next slide. So at this time, you've heard a lot of talk right now, but I want to remind everybody that maybe just a pause, that we welcome your comments. Like I said, we'd like you to put those in the chat bar. And as we present and as we talk about the project, put your questions, thoughts, ideas in that chat bar, please, and we'll be processing those and integrating those into the input process and plan to respond by February 8th.
Thank you, Bill. So I want to bring us to the actual site that we are working in, or I should say, give you some regional context for what we're looking at. This map is showing the all of the sites that DCR and adjacent agencies are looking at along the Clinch River. The Clinch River State Park is envisioned as a string of pearls along the Clinch River, which ties in with the access and preservation of this really amazing and unique resource. The Clinch River is recognized internationally by the Nature Conservancy as one of the last great places. It is the #1 hotspot in the US for imperiled aquatic species. There are 48 imperiled and vulnerable animal species, including 29 varieties of rare freshwater mussels and 19 species of fish. This is a really special place, and developing a state park is a way to manage the conservation of the area, but then also expand the appreciation of the river. And so you can see that with all of these spots, there are plans long-term for the development further along with the sites on the river, but 2 specific sites have already been acquired in the map 4 area, and so I'm going to focus in on that specific region. So this map is showing that zoomed in area. You can see St. Paul downstream anchoring with the Sugar Hill tracks, the 3 tracks there right by St. Paul, and then at the north end, the upstream end of this river, the Owens tract and the R-Trip launch site. And then those are highlighted in yellow. You can see that there are also many other organizations that have sites along this river for water access as well as large land holdings. So part of the focus of this area, why DCR is focusing on this area, is because there are ways to be able to have different access points to different lengths of trips along the river. Some access points would be part of the state park, while others would be with partner agencies and localities for additional launch point access. For those of you who haven't visited this area, I want to share a short video, or those of you who have, to remind you of the opportunities for this site. The video seems to have trouble playing, so we are going to skip that and look back first at the Owens tract and the R-Trip site in Russell County, which is at the upstream end in the upper right of this map. So to introduce you to the site, we have done existing conditions analysis of what's there now. So you can see on this map, the red outline is the site. It's 234 acres. And then with the associated public boat launch at R-Trip, which is already developed. You can see the contour lines that this is definitely a hilly site with some elevation change between this site and the Clinch River, and then some ridges that are up on the site as well. There are existing structures on the site, various barns and sheds and old cabins. This is it was a farming site. It still is active pasture and hayfields. In this area, there's also some interesting cemeteries and some history to the buildings that are on site. And if you look in the chat bar, Mary has just added a link to the video that was not able to play for us. But if you have a chance to look at it, I highly recommend it. It's a great series of views of the site and then the surrounding area that gives you an idea of the quality of the landscape that's being shared here. So going to take you here with these Russell tracks for some photographs to be able to give you more of an idea of what these look like. These are 2 photographs of the boat launch, the existing access site that is at the river and at the base of this tract. These next photos are from that upland portion of the site. So you can see the pond that was mentioned, some of the historic buildings, the cemetery. And you can also see there's some really great views from the site. It's one of the primary attributes and opportunities for this site are the views that come off of it with these ridges, and then some of these lands that you're looking out onto are also currently protected by other organizations. That view shed is being maintained. So as well as site visits, we had also done an opportunities and constraints evaluation for the potential how this site could potentially be used as a state park. Primary opportunities for this site is that there are fantastic views and historic features. But the constraints is the access. It's a small road that comes into the site, but then also the site access is quite difficult with crossing railroad tracks, one lane farm road with very steep grades. And then steep slopes. So you can see on this map, the pink areas are steep slopes of 25% or greater. And then the green areas are 10% or less. So you can see that there's limited flat areas, but there are fantastic views with those gray double pointed arrows, some ridge lines outlined in purples, and then all of the asterisks are interesting historic features both on the site and then also adjacent to the site with that old schoolhouse. Looking again at the context, so we just looked at the R trip and Owens tracks that were to the upstream end, so going to be moving down to look at the St. Paul sites with those 3 contiguous parcels. So this map is again showing the existing conditions with the contour lines, the river location. The red, of course, outlines the site, and then the yellow is trail locations. I should also point out that north in this case is to the right rather than up, just to help give you some orientation. So you can see St. Paul would be just to the east, just a little bit down of the image of the map that's on site. So this tract is a series of 3 parcels totaling 462 acres. It is currently open for public use with 9 miles of hiking trails, a picnic shelter, 2 miles of river frontage, and remnants of an 18th century French settlement. Some pictures of this site to be able to help give you an idea of its existing conditions. Again, there are great views from this site. There you can see some of the existing trails, both through the meadows and then also the woods. The site does have direct river frontage that with an accessible slope. And then that bottom right-hand picture is showing you the chimney and the picnic area that has been developed on site. So this is currently available to the public to use, though there is no direct DCR state park parking. Parking is provided by the town of St. Paul, and then visitors are able to walk over on a land bridge to be able to access the site. So this map is showing the opportunities and constraints. Again, similar markings compared to the R-Trip site, with pink being steep slopes, 25% or greater, green being flatter slopes, 10% or less. So you can see again, there's definitely some topography, some steep slopes that's in this area, but again, some great views, some interesting historic features, and some existing access coming through to the site, as well as other potential access points that might be a little bit more navigable for visitors. Also pointing out that there is a railroad that passes through the site, creating some separation, but there is a railroad tunnel, so there is possibility for crossing over for users between the 3 parcels. Primary opportunities for this site include its great views, proximity to St. Paul and its main roads, so being very easily accessible to visitors. It also has water access. You can see the blue arrow. And historic features. Primary concerns are the sensitive environments. If you see that kind of gold peach colored hatching, those are all sensitive environments. So you can see most of the river along the frontage of this site, and then many of the slopes are sensitive natural environmental communities. So that'll have to be kept in mind during the site planning for this parcel. So I want to pause again to be able to give you an opportunity to type in any questions or comments about the the site evaluations, existing conditions. And again, if you want some more time to be able to really take a look at these maps that were put together, this presentation will be available online after tonight. So you can take your time to be able to look at it more closely and then also submit any questions or comments at that point. So you don't have to do it all right now. So moving on to the purpose statement. So the purpose statement that was developed with input from DCR and the advisory committee, which is a very representative sample of interested stakeholders, interested parties to this. So the purpose statement is, Clinch River State Park is envisioned as a string of pearls along the ecologically significant Clinch River, providing opportunities for all recreation and education that connects visitors to the environmental and cultural significance of the river and the region, conserving and enhancing sensitive resources, and fostering connections within and between adjacent communities. Also, as part of this process, goals were developed that are going to be guiding the development and management of the park. The first goal is to protect, conserve, and enhance the natural, scenic, cultural, and historic resources of the park. The second goal is to create a welcoming and safe experience for all. Goal number 3, provide a range of overnight and day use opportunities and facilities for visitors to the park. Goal 4, provide facilities and programs for environmental, cultural, and historical education and interpretation. Goal 5, work across sectors to provide mutually beneficial efforts to enhance the Clinch River and surrounding region. And number 6, administer and manage the park in a professional and transparent manner, which fosters the public's trust. And these goals are very similar to the goals at most state parks, but some of them have been modified or expanded upon based on the input from the stakeholders and the needs of this particular region. So our next stage in this process will be developing the master plan, the actual site site development for these parcels, and then the any expansion into future parcels. So we're going to be using the input from this meeting to be able to guide that. So no planning has started yet. So your input is definitely very important and will be taken into account during the development. But we did want to share some proposed park character. You got some idea from the maps and the site photos of what the area is like and also the constraints for its development. So there is some direction for the park character that is envisioned for these sites. These images are all based on other Virginia state parks. So it gives you an idea of the type of contemporary development that is taking place on the site and what might be possible on the Clinch River State Park. This slide shows you some examples of the type of infrastructure development that takes place. So the different styles of cabins and other overnight accommodations, camping yurts, as well as picnic facilities and the boat access. So these are all the current standards for state parks. So this would be the type of development, the type of amenities, if these are constructed, that would appear on site. So with this presentation, we want to share how we proceeded so far, what we've found with the site development, what we have found with the site conditions, and then how that will influence the site development. But we want to hear from you. So I encourage you again, put any comments in the chat bar. If you have any additional comments, you can send them to Jennifer, and then responses will be posted in February. We're going to be gathering up all those responses at once, so that way if there's repeats or if any of them take some additional thought or some research, that'll give us a chance to be able to fully respond to your questions. So please give us your comments. We'll be incorporating them into the design and development process. As part of that, this public comment, it is a 30-day public comment period, so you have until January 16th. Jennifer Wampler, her email address is there. We are also conducting an online public survey. You see the link here in these notes. We encourage you and everyone else that you know to please take the survey. It is also going to be available until January 16th. So if you know anybody who is interested, who wasn't able to make this presentation, or any other users of State Park, people that you think might be interested, we encourage you to respond to this survey and to be able to give us some additional feedback about what your needs are of what you would like to see at this site. So the next steps, this is, as Bill outlined in the process, this is just one part of the design process. We have met with the advisory committee twice so far, and they have also completed a survey. We're going to be having one more meeting with the advisory committee and then also another public meeting at the point we have developed the preliminary master plan recommendations to be able to get feedback on what those are. So your comments now will inform that master plan, and then we will develop the master plan. You can comment on what we have developed. So that will be advertised at the point that that's available. And then of course, this presentation, the recorded version, as well as the PDF, will be available on the website, so you can refer back to it. If anybody else that you know missed it, they are able to view it at that point. So it'll be on DCR's website on the master plans. So thank you very much for attending. I'm going to transfer this back over to Kelly for last comments and wrap up.
Thank you, Tristan, Bill, Melissa. Thank you all for helping out tonight. As you saw, everyone in the audience, we're going to keep the chat bar open just a few more minutes in case you'd like to add comments in the chat. They are being recorded, so we'll read those after the fact, and then we'll be responding to those sometime thereafter, after January 16th. I want to thank everyone for attending tonight. I hope you found some information helpful regarding the presentation. I did see Mary put the YouTube link, so there was a video that we weren't able to make happen tonight for you, but you certainly can go and watch it. It gives you some good views of the park, and it gives you a better feeling for what's there other than still pictures. If you have comments, we'll continue to receive them. You can call us. You can email Jennifer Wampler at jennifer.wampler. It's on the screen, at dcr.virginia.gov. You also can send a letter to us. We're at 600 East Main Street in Richmond, Virginia. Give us a call and we'll definitely be able to put that address, or I'll put it in the chat. I could put the address in the chat. Thank you so much. We're always interested in your opinion, your thoughts. As Tristan said, everything you say tonight will be incorporated into the next step, which the next steps are as follows. We're going to receive these comments, incorporate these comments, and go back to the advisory committee sometime after the holidays. We're going to discuss what those comments were and move forward with the next step with stakeholders. That next step will be starting to talk about facilities on site. And then sometime thereafter that we'll have another public meeting, and that's when you'll see larger diagrams with facilities, locations, some interest that you may have at that time and you may not have seen at this time. So that's coming sometime probably February or so. We'll certainly advertise that so everybody has a chance to have a chance to come to that. Hasn't been decided yet whether that's going to be an in-person or a virtual meeting. We'll have to see how everything goes. I want to thank everybody for attending tonight, thank our speakers, and I hope everybody has a great holiday season. We'll keep the chat open for just a couple more minutes, and then we'll stop the recording. But this is the end of the presentation. Thanks.